Section 8.5, we're going to add and subtract rational expressions. So last section, we multiplied them, we divide these things together, but actually a trickier part is adding and subtracting them. Okay, so look at the first example here, 3 over 5x plus 4 divided by 5x. We can add these two things together only if they have the same denominator. Same denominator. Therefore, you only add the top though. Now, if you remember this from grade school or not, right? 1/4 plus 3/4, right? You keep the same denominator and you add the top. 1 plus 3. 4/4, which equals 1 whole. So same thing here. We have the same denominator, so we're just going to add the top. 3 plus 4, 7 over the same denominator. A lot of people want to say that's 10x. No, you keep the same. Keep it the same, right? 5x, 5x, 5x. Same thing for letter B. If you see this, they have, first thing I look for if I'm adding or subtracting, right, is if they have the same denominator. Probably not going to give you one, but we'll see. Same denominator, so therefore just subtract the top. So 2x minus 5. You can't simplify that, so you just leave it. 2x minus 5 all over, same denominator, x minus 7. And you could look at it and say, does that simplify anymore? Nope. So you're done. So we're looking for same denominator. Now I'm going to make you make it the same denominator. It's not going to be this easy. But before you know how to make it the same denominator, let's do this for a second. Let's go back. Like 1/3, I don't know, plus 1/2. What do? What do you find? You can't add those up and say that's 2 whatever fifths, right? Have to have the same denominator. So what's the common denominator of 2 and 3? Now this is simple because those don't factor. So here's 2, here's 3, and all you have to do is multiply them together and you get 6, right? So we want to make both of those 6. So I got to think, okay, what do I have to multiply 3 by to get 6? Oh, multiply by 2, right? Multiply by 2 on top, 2 on the bottom, and therefore 1/3 is the same as 2 times 1. That's 2/6, right? What's 1/2 the same as? Well, multiply by 3, now get 6 down here. So multiply the times, 3/6. You should already know this, by the way, right? 2/6 plus 3/6 equals 5/6. That's your answer. But basically, we have to find what we call the least common multiple. Alright? Least, meaning 6 is the smallest number that is a multiple of 2 and 3. What else is a multiple of 2 and 3? 12, right? But that's not the least one. We want to find the one that is least. Which brings us to the next question. I need to show you how to do that with stuff that looks like this. The least common multiple, not of 2 and 3, like that's, you learned that way back in the day, but 2 polynomials. Okay? How do you find the LCM of 2 polynomials? So, you're going to need to take note of this, how we do this. There's a specific process, okay? The first part of the process is factor those two things. Factor. Alright, so factor this. Always look for a GCF, which is 4. Pull out a 4. 4 times x squared minus 4. Next, can you simplify this anymore? Can you factor this anymore, I should say? You can, right? X minus 2, x plus 2, that's a difference of squares. If you're not good at factoring, this whole section is done. Alright, you need to know how to factor. Okay? Now here's the other part of this factoring stuff. You have to make it prime factors. Like 4 isn't just 4. You can break 4 down. What's 4 the same as? 2 times 2, or 2 squared. You have to break it down into all of its prime factors. That's what this is. This is basically prime factorization. Okay? That's important. If you don't do it, you're going to have like different answers here. Okay, next one. I look at this trinomial and I say, I don't want to slide and divide first. I want to look for GCF, which is 6. So pull out a 6. X squared minus 4x plus 4. Then I say, okay, can I factor this trinomial? Factors of 4 that add up to negative 4. minus 2 and minus 2 make positive 4. Minus 2 and minus 2 make negative 4. So this becomes x minus 2 times x minus 2. Now, we're not going to leave it x minus 2, x minus 2. We're just going to say x minus 2 squared. Kind of like I didn't say 2 times 2, I just said 2 squared. This is important to do, okay? Because the rule that I say, you're going to have to do this or you're going to be very confused, okay? Now, what about 6? 6 breaks down into prime factors, 2 times 3. So that's what I write. 2 times 3 times x minus 2 squared. Now, if you look at this, here's the rule, okay? It says find the LCM by writing each factor to the highest power it occurs in each polynomial, okay? So write out each factor. I'll explain this in a second. To the highest power that it occurs. To the highest power it occurs in either polynomial. So either one, you just pick the highest one. Now, watch me do this, okay? In either polynomial. So part 1, write out each factor to the highest power it occurs. How many factors do you think you see up here? That's a good question. I see 2. I see x minus 2. I see x plus 2. There's 3 different ones so far. 3 different factors. 2, x minus 2, x plus 2. What about down here? 2, but I already have that up here. So, okay, that doesn't count as a different factor. 3, there's a different one. Okay, and x minus 2 squared. I already have x minus 2 up here, so that's nothing different. Okay, so I have 4 different factors. You understand that? I got 2, x minus 2, x plus 2, and 3. Those are 4 different factors. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the highest power of all of those factors. Okay, so what I'm going to write is I'm going to write 2. So my LCM is this. My least common multiple is 2 to the highest power. So I see a 2 to the first, and I see 2 squared. I'm going to take 2 squared, the highest one. Okay, next one. What's the next? X minus 2 is the next factor. I see an x minus 2, and I see an x minus 2 squared. So I'm going to write x minus 2 squared because that's the highest power. And I see an x plus 2. I don't see any more x plus 2, so that's obviously the highest power, x plus 2. And lastly, I see a 3. I don't see any other 3, so 3 to the first is the highest power in here. So times it by 3. Now I'm going to clean this up, okay? So 2 squared times 3, we'll say that's 4 times 3 is 12, times x minus 2 squared times x plus 2. This is your least common multiple. Notice my process. I factored completely. I factored down to its prime factors, and then I chose the highest power that occurs in either polynomial. So I see 2 squared and I see 2. I chose the highest one, 2 squared. So what if you wrote x minus 2 down here? X minus 2, x minus 2. You're going to be confused. You're going to say, oh, the highest power is just x minus 2. That's why you have to write things with the powers. Okay, don't say 2 times 2, say 2 squared, so on and so on. Okay? That's it. That's the biggest idea in this whole section. Know how to find the least common multiple. Alright? You're going to have to practice that one.